Tom here from Lawrence Systems. And yes, this is a short notice live stream. I realized I don't really have time later in the day to do this. So I wanted to do it now. This is just a quick 10 minutes before I leave update. And there's not too much really to say other than, hey, we are having our 2-day management meeting. This is day 2 at CNWR of having it. These are these big offsite meetings we do to update the company, make sure we're still going in the right direction. And, all those little things, make sure you are building your target profile customers and things like that. Some of the important business things that I'm still involved in, still have some input on, and looking at everything from a valuation standpoint. The interesting thing is there's so much more to do. It's hard to believe it goes 2 days, but it's, there's a lot of ground to cover. We have a lot of people working for us now. There's just about 30 employees right now. So it's always making sure the company's going in the right direction. But, once I'm done with this, I will probably do another live stream over the weekend where I answer some of the questions. And I'm trying to decide a couple things that I'll throw out here, which is log Thursday at lawrencesystems.com. I'm trying to figure out better ways because it's hard to figure out where to contact me if my forums aren't working for you. So I tell people this, but I don't want to post this email outside of here. I know there's some scraping tools, more advanced ones that'll pull it out of here. So far, I've been lucky and it hasn't got too spammy, but maybe I'll have a, some type of form that is dedicated on my site. So if people just need to get in touch with me to let me know something, that they can do that. Because I've had a few people have had to help in the forums. It's almost always because they created the problem. And the problems people create trying to sign up for forums is, and I get it, there's so many people trying to grab your email address to send you spam. So people who have their own domain will put together blah, blah, blah at Lawrence Systems in some type of email, then put at theirdomain.com. The problem is people seem to mess this up a lot and they start typing so much random stuff and it ends up being the wrong email box. And then they pick the username they wanted. And I don't display emails in the forums. I display your username that you get to choose. Well, then their username becomes chosen because they registered it, even though it's not confirmed. And maybe I got to make sure it auto deletes the people who don't click the confirmation email, but they don't get the confirmation email because they put the wrong thing in there. And then they asked me to fix it. It's only happened a handful of times, but it's still an issue. I'm also working on trying to figure out a better automation, or maybe I just have to have someone write this for me. I'm sorry, I don't allow anonymous emails. And that's the biggest rejection that I do every day now. And it's getting worse is people who want to use those anonymous free email services to sign up for my forums. I don't have a way forward. If someone says, I've got a couple people angry because they said I'm not respecting their privacy. And I'm like, then you can't have it both ways. I don't know how to control the spam in my forums by allowing just anyone to have an account without some type of verified email address. It just becomes, when I used to do it, I used to fight spam all the time. And I said, why am I fighting spam? It's always the same anonymous emailers. And I can just get rid of those. And as I started banning those, I now have an amazing number of posts, a wonderful community, and a lack of spam anymore. And it's been great. It's not that nobody gets through. Every now and then, it's kind of weird. Shady companies will register with their domain and then post some link to their company as if it's an article. Hey, has anyone heard of blah, blah, blah? Because they'll pick a random username and you can't see their email. This actually happened. And I reached out to the marketing people at that company. I'm like, this is kind of shady. I said, one of your people used their email address and asked and pretended like they were asking about the product. I said, they use a random username, but hey, such is life. It's only happened a couple times. Either way, I want my forums to be a place where it's interactive. It's a good experience. I don't tolerate any BS in there. And it has to stay on topic. And that's where I think forums are so much better than the large pools of social media. When you try to make these large everything places where it's the everywhere place for all people, you end up with lots of conflicts of competing interests. And then these companies, in order to maintain their size, go, well, the controversial BS gets a lot of engagement. So let's promote that on the site because then we can get more people engaged and enraged, and then they're clicking and then they keep going to our site. And it's one of those things. That's why I had the forums, because one, I didn't want to have my rules dictated to me via a big, large media company. And it's always, and Cory Doctorow is, I love his phrasing on this. And I see Jeff Geerling in here, and he's actually said, kind of mentioned this before recently. It's the enshittification cycle that these companies, once they get so big and have so much market capture of a niche, or not even necessarily a niche, like a community online, they figure out ways to make it a worse experience. And at the cost of the users having less control and more guidelines as dictated to them. So yeah, this is why I run my forums. And I'm also working on a mailing list for those interested. So that's actually just went live. And I have no time yet set when the mailing list will come out, but it is. I've started, at least for those interested. This is completely opt-in mailing list, of course. You go to my website, there's a mailing list button at the bottom where you can join the mailing list. My plans, the structure, which I'll, as soon as I get the structure finished, which is mostly done, I will release how the structure will be, but it's essentially the things I find interesting I'm going to probably do it every 2 weeks, to things in between each 2 weeks, that interesting sites I found, articles that might be interesting. I'll separate out at the bottom the security articles I found interesting versus, I don't want to focus on just some of the security articles are interesting, but when it actually has an impact on either like the home lab or small business or some of the markets we work in, stuff that's more engaging. It's not, there maybe might be a little bit of silliness in there, because sometimes I find something that's kind of novel that just says, hey, this might be something that looks silly, but you may be interested in it. And of course, I'll have a list of any videos between each newsletter that I release. That way, for those of you that don't want to be driven by the algorithm or maybe are curious, I will have all my YouTube videos listed in there as well. I'm debating, and this is a future thought, is going to be, could I do this where I also have a section for people to subscribe to for the category they're interested in? That would be kind of neat, and it wouldn't be too hard to do from an automation standpoint on the back end, where, hey, you would like to subscribe to my PF Sense updates or my TrueNAS updates or my virtualization talks. Maybe there's a option later where I fine tune it so you can get a subscription feed. And that would just be done via automations, that anytime a new video is posted of this type, you get a notice via email. I want to make some automation tools like that, because there's always these fights with the YouTube system of, hey, I didn't know you had a video on that. I was really looking forward to it, and I didn't find out until a week after because I had to search for it. YouTube didn't show it in subscriptions, because sometimes YouTube, if you don't interact with someone for a while on a topic, YouTube will decide you probably don't care about seeing their videos, even though you subscribe to their videos. And that can be challenging at times when I see that, when people said, I didn't know you had this video. And I'm like, it's in a playlist. It's in my, so when it's a TrueNAS video, it's in the TrueNAS playlist. And I don't know. Yeah. So there's always interesting challenges with the algorithm and what they will or will not allow. Now I'm 8 minutes into this video, so I only got 2 minutes left. Last couple things. AI and automation is huge right now for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to increase things in the most automated way possible. I've reached out to some companies because even though they offer YouTube transcriptions and automatic title generate, or like the titles where you can, not just titles, but the chapters. And I want the chapters to be set up so they have automatic generation from the live streams. And that would be pretty cool, because then the live streams aren't just me rambling for 2 hours where you can't find it or indexed. Yeah, I thought that was turned on. That's got to be fixed right here. No mail confirmation link process. That could be an issue. Yes, that'll be turned on. I thought it was. Guess who's new to setting up things? Like, I know the things I need to do, and I thought it had that on there. So that will be turned on for the opt-in confirmation. So thank you for pointing that out. That's absolutely a feature that has to be on there. Good morning. Very quick regarding PSNS Plus. Should I change admin username to something else? Yeah, I generally recommend it. Don't use the admin username. Change it to something else. Makes perfect sense to me. And I think I have one question, might be too long. Yeah, it would take me a few minutes to even. Someone asked me if I want to have an offsite event. I will maybe talk about that later. I don't know. So this person emailed me a really long one. Can I still, then another one, this one's a lot shorter, so I'll get these questions out of the way before I have to leave. Can I still run an entire UniFi ecosystem, including MVR and Pro Server on a UDM Pro? I currently have UDM Pro set as my running network. Can I still run the entire product in MVR Pro? No, if you have an MVR Pro, then the NVR functions go to Pro, and that you either use the NVR or you use your UDM. I don't think you can stack the two together. Although UniFi does support stacking, I haven't done any videos on it, but it's weird. It's not the same kind of NVR stacking you get with other systems. It's a little bit different. And this is a good topic for business technicalities, but I'll bring it up here. Since working from home is a new norm, how do you prove the person you're talking to is the right person? Since there are known AI can mimic one's voice, so recognizing voice would not be reliable anymore. Do you have a secret code your team used another method? Yeah, you call them out of band, but maybe we'll talk more in depth about that, of having second ways of verifying people who they are. You will call them to like a known number, and you got to do a level of due diligence, but you also have to do, figuring out ways to do this. There's a few methodologies, and I think how to deal with support people, making sure that you're talking to the right person on the other end is a big deal from like at managed IT. The other one is in the Zen Orchestra paid version, do you frequently get an update? I noticed the self-compiled version easily gets out of date within a week with multiple commits. The XCPNG and Zen Orchestra question, you actually get to choose the train you're on when you're doing it. You can choose if you want like the latest updates or what they refer to as a stable update. So how many updates you get on the paid version of Zen Orchestra is dependent on your choice inside the settings inside of Zen Orchestra. When you have the paid license versions, it says, what release cycle would you like to be on? So that's just an option inside of there. But that is it. Let's see. Any idea why you can't do a multi-site on UDM Pro? Yeah, they don't design it that way. If you use the UDM, it's only designed to manage devices to attach itself. End of story. That's a feature for their self-hosted and their cloud key. So those are features that are self-hosted and cloud key, and away we go. But then the problem is console use for recovery management later. You need a sudo package. I'm missing a piece of that. A way to quickly regenerate a NEC8 device ID, replace I believe it's generated off the network card. I feel like that's the answer, so that would be the way to do it. Do you have any idea why the SFP Plus from UniFi or FS can't be used on a NEC8 8200? Far as I know, the NEC8 8200 doesn't care I don't even know what SFPs are in there. I know they're not Intel. We're using SFPs on our 8200, and I'm not sure what model they are. So it doesn't seem to care which ones they are. I have not run into that. I don't remember which one. I think I have Cisco ones because UniFi doesn't care either. I have some UniFi ones, and I have some Cisco, like the label on them for what the firmware is on the SFP Plus module, and I haven't had a problem. I do have some Intel ones I ordered because I have another system. I think it matters on a chipset. The chipset I have on another motherboard appears to want those. I don't know if I have a bad network interface on this. There's another just board I'm testing at work. But most of the time devices don't care, but there might be some that do. But at least my experience with the NEC8 ones is it doesn't. But sorry, I do have to leave to go to the management meeting. So this is where I'll end the vlog. Thank you, everyone. And I'll just do a live stream probably this weekend to kind of fill in all of this. Maybe Saturday morning I'll do one. I'll try to schedule it so you'll see it in the schedule more and be able to figure out what time it's going to be. I'm trying to work on if I can do this at a regular time all the time. But the problem is when I travel and things, it bumps it around. So yes. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Sorry, this one was short. If I have time, which I don't think I will, because there's the company office party later. I'm not even going to suggest that I'm going to be able to do this again. So it's just, I'm not going to be able, I don't think there's time again today to do this. All right. And thanks. But this weekend, I'll follow up with I like doing the long live streams. I love interacting with everyone. In the meantime, email your questions to vlogthursday@launchsystems.com. And that's where I answer them in other live streams as well. All right. And thanks.